Hey now, the mind corner, let's ride. Talking that real with proud, those by your side. Good vibes only, smooth and fine. The mind corner, yeah, you're right on time.
Hey, welcome back to the Mind Corner, the only place that we can laugh, cry, and overshare. Anyway, so today, update, guys, update. I'm running the London Marathon. Why did I forget about this? I cannot forget about this. 3 weeks to go. 3 freaking weeks to go. So I see in the group chat, because guys, I'm in the group chat of Sarcoma UK. That is my sponsor for the whole experience. And I'm fundraising money. So there's gonna be a QR code here where you can just click and connect your money to my goal. That is actually making sure that everyone that goes through the same issues that I went through when I lost my brother. So we trying to help these people. You know what I mean? No, we are no I don't want to say that because it sounds bad, but we are not saving lives totally, because we don't do magic. We know that it's still a disease and it's really hard, but we are helping people to understand the disease and trying to treat it on time. So yeah, because I think when I start all this fundraising situation, for me, it was so I'm donating for them to save them. So we are, that's actually the goal, but to actually save them, we need to understand the issue. So all this money that we are raising is all about awareness, you know what I mean? Putting more money in labs, putting more money in learning about the disease, and so we're doing it. I'm actually halfway of the whole experience goal that I had. For me, I would love to go beyond that, and I want to keep doing this. I don't have to do it just because I want to run the London Marathon. So yeah, I was really scared because I'm in the group chat with everyone. Everyone is in 32K, running and everything. And I think my longest running was 24 kilometers. So I feel a little bit behind, even though I'm going every day for running. I'm doing this and that. But I realized that this is not about vanity for me. So it's not about a price that I want to put on my ego. This is about doing it and doing it for the good cause. So I don't care if I take 3 hours. That will be so lovely. That will be so good. But that will be more for me and my pride. And it will be really nice. But at the end of the day, this is not the point. So if I take 8 hours, the whole thing is committed to do it, and I will do it. Doesn't matter if it's 3, 6, 7, or 8 hours. It's going to be exactly the same feeling of realizing I'm doing it for a good cause and this whole process. So yeah, so I'm training. It was so fun. I went to Cornwall. I got to run around the island, and it was really, really nice. It was so nice. The whole experience has been so great for my mental health, from everything. It's just so nice. I feel I'm connected to my brother. I never done everything with him, about him when he died. I just forgot about him, and I didn't want to remember anything. So this year has been really emotional to me, and it's working. It's going really well, and yeah. And it's gonna be something happening the 19th of May. That is his 10th anniversary of his death. It's been 10 years. Can't believe it, because I don't know. I feel he's I don't know. If I think about it, it will be 2 years, 3 years. But it's been 10 years. So for this, I wrote a song called 19th of May that is gonna come out that day. So yeah, and it's gonna be more things coming up that I cannot tell you guys. But yes, this podcast is giving me so much. And I'm putting so much energy and so much work on it, and I'm just getting back, and it's so great. It's so nice. But anyway, stop talking about it. This week, you guys know, this 2 weeks ago, we did the BFI Flare, and we covered so many movies. Last week, it was Ukraine. This week, we have Lunar Sway. Oh my gosh, Lunar Sway. Such a movie. Such a freaking movie. So I was really upset because I checked the email late, and Nick Butler, that is actually the director of the movie, he was in town here in London, but I was too busy, and I didn't check all the emails. And his agent, one of his agents, I don't know if it's agent or agency, I don't know. Well, Michael, I think Michael Mitchell, whatever. He was there contacting us to see if we want to interview with him, and he sent everything. Anyway, I didn't check the email. I was too busy doing other things with the festival, so I couldn't get him to be here because I actually sent him an email, and he sent me the email back. I actually say, I'm so sorry I missed your email. I saw that because like it was, I think it was one of the biggest movie apart from Mad Fabulous that we went as well to see it, and it was great. This is one of the biggest movie because the cast was crazy. You have like, I don't know, you have like, I actually have it here. You have Noah Pecker. Oh, he's actually like a new star. You know what I mean? In all this, he's the main character of the movie. Really well done, Noah. You did really great. Lisa Whale, probably you know Lisa Whale. She was in Gilmore Girls, so you guys know her. She did amazing. Kaden Connor, bro, why you didn't come to the podcast? He is in Hidden Rivalry as well. My favorite show ever. You guys know I'm obsessed. And we got as well Douglas Smith. You guys know that I speak broken English anyway, so if I mislead your name, don't judge me. Try my best. But yeah. So the movie was great. It was crazy good. This is the kind of movie I like because it has comedy, it has a little bit of action, and it has like self-discovering. You know, it's more about like how loneliness can drive you to do things that you didn't know you want to do. Because when you are alone and you are like loneliness take you to do things. I don't know. Like this is about the movie. That's all a movie. Like the whole thing. Really good. Why? Because it has all the factors that I like: comedy, queerness, a bit of sex. Always is a plus, and yeah, it's just about emotions, and I really enjoy the movie. And you know what? I'm gonna watch it again today, because I can't. You guys can't know yet. Anyway. I have contacts, and so I got the chance to speak with Nick. Really glad that he actually took the time to get on FaceTime with me to talk about Lunar Sway. That it will come out soon in USA. We don't know if they. We don't know exactly about London. But yeah. So first, before we go to the interview, I'm gonna put the trailer here so you guys can see the vibe of the whole thing because it's sexy, like sexy. Made me feel so single, but it's fine. It made me feel things. Nowadays, feeling is a blessing. Doesn't matter what. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the trailer, and after that, we'll keep talking to you. So now let's watch the trailer.
It's really not a big deal, okay? But my birth mom found me.
Your laugh sounds like mine.
I hate my laugh.
You'll learn to like it if you're anything like me.
Have you seen this woman?
No.
She's dangerous.
Did you hear about these people who howl at the moon? It's like a way of life or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird fucks on the internet.
People stumble on the idea of stealing from strangers, but it's a mistake to assume the person you're stealing from is a decent human. I mean, what are the odds?
I never thought of it that way.
People will try to make you feel guilty for doing what you love, Cliff. Don't let them.
Have you ever been properly sung to by someone who means it?
I don't think so.
Why'd you do it?
Why do we do anything? It's insane to think we understand why we do anything.
So I hope you like the trailer, though. Yeah. So as you see, there's so many like scenes. I love the cinematic of the whole thing, the whole taste of the movie. You know, because it's what I like to see is what it actually bite me. When I go in, I want to watch a movie. That's the kind of movie I want to watch. This is the kind of concept, the movie I want to watch. So I really love the idea of Lunar Sway. And when you guys watch it, you're going to understand the name, why the name is about. And yeah, so now you're going to get the chance to listen to what Nick said about his beautiful masterpiece. So I hope you guys enjoy the interview. Let's see the interview. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Nick. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm really good. As I was telling you before, I'm really sad you couldn't come here to the studio today or when you were here. But I'm lucky enough that you got the chance, even though you are in New York now, is it?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
that you got the time to speak with us that I'm really excited about. We're gonna talk about Lunar Sway. We're gonna talk about like you as a director, what you've been up to, your past, and everything, so we can get to know you a little bit. So, can you describe us a little bit, like who is Nick?
Well, I'm a Canadian filmmaker actually, but yeah, I moved to New York almost 7 years ago now, and yeah, I guess I've always dreamed of making movies since I was a little kid. It's kind of the cliche backstory of like I dug up the camera from my parents' attic and started making little home movies with my toys and stuff. And yeah, I made short films and worked in casting for many years, and then a couple years ago, I made my first feature, and now Lunar Sway is my second feature. So that's kind of my summary of my work. So.
Yeah. And you never done like acting or anything? I actually thought that, well, like when you are an actor, you are like, I want to be a director now. So you never try acting?
No, I was never brave enough to act. I have a lot of respect for what actors do. I was always very shy when I was starting out, and I don't think I was ever interested in acting. I've always been kind of behind the scenes. I think when I was a little kid, I would go to like acting camp and stuff like that because that's all I knew. Like you'd watch a movie, you knew to see actors, so I didn't really understand behind the scenes. But then the minute I learned that there was such a thing as behind the scenes, I became really obsessed with that. So yeah, I was never really brave enough to act. No.
Okay, yeah. The same happened to me, to be honest. I don't see myself as an actor. No, I mean, I'm a comedian though. I loved comedy. I love to be on a stage. I'm a singer, but I would never be able to act or anything like that. Anyway, talking about Lunar Sway, yeah, because I'm obsessed. Like, first of all, because it's the kind of movie I like to watch. You know what I mean? It has everything I like to watch. So I was watching it because I had a trip, and I was like, let me just watch it. And I actually watched it during the trip. And when I came back home, I'll watch it again because I was like, let me just make sure. So congratulations, it's really nice.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
I couldn't get into your premiere because it was fully busy. So like I wasn't selected to that one because I already was in another one. So yeah, so that was sad for that side. But thank you for like being here with me today. Like for people that doesn't know anything about Lunar Sway, like how the idea came out, like from your mind.
Well, I had the basic premise in mind for a long time. I always thought like, oh, it'd be fun to do a movie about someone who reunites with their estranged birth mother or parent, and then I don't want to spoil what happens next, but all the shenanigans that follow. But the original version I pictured was a much more conventional movie. It wasn't the same story. It was very different, and for whatever reason, I didn't feel like a personal connection to it. So I had in the back of my mind as like a plot line without a soul, basically. And then a couple years ago, I was in an unrequited love situation, in love with a straight man, and then I found myself giving a lot of thought to this idea of looking for love in all the wrong places. I was reading a book about attachment styles. I know you do talk on your podcast.
Yeah, I do indeed.
I appreciate that like I was reading that our costume designer Chelsea actually recommended to me, and was thinking about all those ideas of looking for love in the wrong places, why we feel drawn to people that against our better judgment. And so, and this premise kept tapping me on the shoulder. There was something about the fundamental idea of looking for that parental love or whatever that spoke to me. And that was just a starting off point. And so it's not really a direct autobiography about what I was going through, but that was kind of the state of mind I was in. And I just decided to write a character who's looking for love in all the wrong places and has that need to find love and all the shenanigans that follow from that.
Amazing. That was amazing. I've been there. I suffered the pain, but we get over it and we move on.
Exactly. We turn it into movies, and then we
into arts, music, everything. Yes,
exactly.
Literally.
Yeah.
So, why the title Lunar Sway? What does it represent emotionally or symbolically? Like, how do you decide this?
Yeah, great question, because it kind of came very early on, and I was always knew that this movie would deal with the idea of all those kind of animalistic instincts we have, whether it's our hormones or our crushes or our even like our family bonds, like all these very naturally deeply ingrained things that are just kind of in our subconscious beings that to me the idea of like the influence of the full moon kind of taps into that. It's like all those things that are beyond our control, irrational, that still guide our lives, all these invisible forces around us. And it could even just be like, if you want to go farther, there's the forces of nature, the kind of spiritual, indescribable things that influence our lives, or that we sometimes interpret are influencing our lives, whether it's in our imagination or not. Those are all kind of part and parcel with the concept. So I think early on that resonated with me as something to latch onto. So I kind of started there, and then it never changed. It always felt right to me from there. Yeah.
Yeah, so you did an amazing job. I'm gonna praise you during the whole interview, but I really liked it though. I'm not lying. I liked it. It was really nice. I think it's something that I liked. Like it's something that when I'm looking for a movie, it's something it has everything that I liked. You know what I mean? Well, I'm a queer man, so you actually make it happen. Something good. There's like yeah. So there's any like was there a moment during filming where the story completely changed or evolved that it was hard to record or hard to shoot?
Yeah, well, we definitely had a very tight schedule. We shot the whole thing in 20 days. So during the shoot, we would have to do some on-the-fly rewrites in a way. Luckily, we didn't have to cut any major scenes. We have an amazing crew. We have an amazing first AD, Dayon, who did the scheduling. So we, despite those challenges, stayed very, very well on schedule. But I will say that there were a couple scenes that we had to cut or trim or adjust. And in all cases, I think it improved the movie. It's one of those things where it's just part of filmmaking. You have to be able to come up with creative solutions if you don't have time to get everything the way you want. And I think I have a rule that if I ever have to replace an idea because of time constraints or money or whatever, I always we always have to like the new idea as much or more. You can't just be like, oh well, the scene would have been good if we'd had the time. Like you have to fall in love with the new idea that replaces it, and so we ended up changing things that I'm glad we changed. I think we probably would have cut some of it in post anyway. It was all things we knew we could lose, like little bridge scenes of like characters walking up to a house or whatever, things that don't need to be there. You kind of like to have it just to have in your back pocket. But so yeah, we definitely had to, but nothing major. Luckily, we got all the important stuff on set, thankfully.
So amazing. And how long did you wrote the whole idea of the movie and everything? How long does it take to you?
Yeah, well, it varies very dramatically from script to script. In this one, I wrote the first draft very quickly in like 10 days or something. It was surprisingly quick, which is very uncommon for me. But then I workshopped it for another couple of years. I talked about this at the Q&A, and since then I've heard people be like, oh, he wrote it in a week. But it's like, no. I took years. I'm a big believer in workshopping. I got a ton of feedback. I actually got funding to hire actors to do like a table read so that I could hear the dialogue out loud, which is very, very helpful and allowed me to go back and tweak it. So it definitely evolved a lot over the course of a couple of years, but that's still pretty quick because sometimes, just by nature of how long it takes the movie to get made, like my first movie took many, many years to make, and every now and then I would just dig up the screenplay and rewrite it. So I feel like I was writing that for like 7 years. I'm writing a new screenplay now that I've been working on for a couple years, and I think I'm like approaching what I would call a real first draft now. And so every story is different. I think Lunar Sway has a very kind of stream of consciousness quality to it, and Cliff is going on this first person narrative, so it's something that it isn't as much of a plot driven movie, for example. So I think the first draft wrote itself pretty quickly because it just came from a place of pure raw emotion, I guess, and so it flowed out pretty quickly.
So the characters, every character is like a different persona, and they're really interesting, like so interesting. Like we were talking about Cliff, for example. Like is Cliff? I mean, all the characters that you have in the movie, are they like something that you create, or has a little bit of something of people that you have around in your life?
That's a great question because it's always hard to know where the inspiration comes from. I think on one level you're always writing about yourself, whether you want to admit it.
Yeah.
And in this movie, I definitely don't want to admit it because they're all very
yeah.
Sort of, but I've kind of come to realize, like, even if you don't see it, there's some part of yourself in it. And then I think when you're writing it, you have to find something deeply to relate to in order to make it real. So you end up finding something of yourself in the characters. So there's definitely that. But I think beyond that, yeah, you're taking everyone you've ever met, you're putting them in a blender. Like, so Douglas Smith plays a character named Stu, who's a cosmetic dentist. When I was like in my early 20s, I went on a date with a guy who wanted to be a cosmetic dentist, and I never heard of the concept of a cosmetic dentist, but I remember thinking that would be a great job for a character to have in a movie one day. And now all these years later, I found the right home for it. And so
yeah, you do.
Pick up like you're picking up, drawing from every experience, and you're just like, it's almost like you're desperately searching for anything you can use in the movie when you sit down to write. So in that way, you're always drawing, but I don't base characters very directly on specific people usually. I can't really think of an example of doing that. It's usually a combination of lots of different people you've met and a bit of yourself, I think.
Okay, that's amazing. So when I was watching the movie, I was thinking, are there any hidden meanings or layers in the film that audiences might miss on the first watch? Something that you...
I like to think so. I mean, Liza, our lead actor, has said that it's the kind of movie that the more you watch, the more you get out of it. It's not really for me to say that because it sounds like I'm flattering, but it's not even that. It's that I think it is, by its nature, it's the kind of movie that I love rewatching movies, and so I write
Same.
that kind of movie. Like if there's a movie that I, for whatever, vibe with and really enjoy, I like to escape into that world over and over and over. And I always have that in mind, even though my movies, they're so small that it's like we're lucky if we get one person to see it once. So the idea that people are going to watch it more than once isn't actually practical. But I do have that in mind, and I do think it's the kind of movie that the more you watch it, the more you'll get out of it. And that's not to compliment to say, oh, it's because it's so deep. It's not about that. It's just, it's the nature of the story. I think the first time you watch it, you kind of figure out, okay, this is the kind of story it is. And then the next time you watch it, you can appreciate more about it because it does have a slightly unconventional plot. It does have a slightly unconventional structure. We're playing around with all those things. So I think the first time you watch it is just to be introduced to it, and then hopefully you get more with every visit. But maybe everyone thinks that about their own movies. I don't know.
Okay, because one thing that is really interesting as well is the cast. Because we are familiar with some faces, and it was really exciting to see them back, like on like more in these kind of movies. You know what I mean? It was like it's a mix between like comedy with, I don't know. It was, for me, it's like a whole thing. So how was like finding the cast for your movie? How was the experience? How was the whole process?
Oh my gosh, yeah, we have an amazing cast. We got so lucky, and like, yeah, Liza Wilde, who a lot of people know from Gilmore Girls, How to Get Away with Murder, lots of other projects. I was so surprised to discover just how gung-ho she was about doing this small, low-budget indie, and she was actually really excited about that. And I mean, she could speak, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but she had talked about having really positive experiences at the start of her career doing these passion projects. And so she knew what she was signing up for and was very willing to go back to that. So I was lucky, because your concern is always when you hire a cast, an actor who's that experienced on something this small, that they're going to show up to set and be like appalled at how low budget everything is. But she was so game, as was everyone else. Like our lead actor Noah Parker, who's started acting very young, has had a really amazing career in Canada and is now branching out and becoming like a very, you know, up and coming rising star in the US as well. And he's so talented. He also just had the most positive gung-ho attitude, and everyone, actually all of our cast, was so game. So so that made it easy to, and it is fun to see actors play things that we're not quite used to seeing them play. Like I don't think we've seen Liza play this kind of villainous, dark, you know, shady character, but who's also very charming and lovely, and she's a lead of the movie. And so it's fun to see and even Douglas Smith, who I mentioned earlier, who like has played a wide range of characters, but I've never seen him play this kind of offbeat, gay, singing cowboy kind of character before. So
Real.
Right. So and like Kaden Connors from Heated Rivalry, like we cast him we shot this right before Heated Rivalry, so he wasn't this well-known actor at that time. He was just this guy who really impressed us with an amazing audition, and then he's since gone on to become being in this phenomenon that is Heated Rivalry, and now everyone knows who he is. So it's really exciting to see his career really start to take off as well. And but the casting process was easy. Like it was like uncommonly easy, because one of the first tapes I saw was Liza's, and then I saw Noah's within about a week or two, very early on, like 7 months before we started shooting. And I knew immediately, like I cannot tell you how confident and sure I was, based on watching half of their auditions, that they were the ones. And so once we cast them, it was like almost like, oh, well, that was almost too easy. but it was a good problem to have. And so it was kind of just a joy. The casting has been like, we've been very lucky. I feel like we have a good luck star over us for the casting or something.
It was so good. Like for me, for example, because there were so many turnovers during the movie. There's so many things that are happening that you weren't expecting. You know what I mean? Like we don't want to spoil anything, because you know what I mean. But like Cliff, for example, Cliff, go through quite like a journey. Yeah. What was the most important thing you wanted the audience to understand about him?
Oh, that's a great question. For Cliff, I think so much of Cliff's journey is about he's looking for validation and acceptance through other people, and he kind of gives himself away a little too easily. And I think anyone who has felt that like need for connection, need to belong, need for identity can relate to the dangers of being too quick to give yourself away to someone just because you feel a connection. And I think in modern dating we deal with this a lot, and it comes from maybe a good place of wanting that connection, but you have to be discerning, you have to be cautious, you have to know your own worth and your own value. And I think Cliff is someone who doesn't know his own worth enough. So I hope people see themselves reflected in some of his mistakes.
I kind of fell in love with him when I was watching it. It kind of grew in me a lot. As much as I was seeing him, you know what I mean? It was so cute. It was really cute.
Well, that's
Um,
you know what? That's I have to just shout out Noah Parker. Noah Parker brings out so much charm, and he's impossible not to love. He's just like the most lovely person, and so him in that role, he makes that character someone you do fall in love with and root for, and he's just so
yeah,
charming,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, literally. So there, like talking about the actors, there was a moment that feel like there was a moment where you encouraged them, the actors, to improvise or bring their own interpretation in the role, or it was all fully scripted. How was
Yeah,
that?
it's very fully scripted. I'm actually very anti-improv.
Okay.
And if you look at the screenplay, I promise, if you look at the screenplay, you'll see the dialogue didn't change a lot. But that's not to say that it's not about asking the actors to bring a lot to it. In fact, just the opposite. I love when the actors bring a lot to it. I think, especially these cast members, I fully trusted. So they've talked about me being quite hands off, which I think is true. Like I kind of on set let them play around a lot and discover things for themselves because they were already doing such a great job. So yeah, I think they bring a lot to it, but I think like my theory about it is, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like for an actor, if the script isn't locked, it's like there's almost like an infinite number of choices of what you can say or do, and I actually don't think that always helps the performance. I think it's nice to have these boundaries and restrictions in place to be like, this is what you have to say. Your job is to figure out a way to make it feel real, to make it come to life. So I think it's like those little parameters actually then give the actors the information they need to do their job and bring as much to it. And they bring a lot. Like Liza and Noah, for example, bring just so many layers to there's so much going on behind their eyes. There's so much going on in their faces. They bring so much layer. They elevate everything. And we haven't even talked about Grace Glowicki, who plays Bailey, the bounty hunter, kind of the villain
Yeah.
of the story. This is our second time making a movie together, and she's a good friend of mine. And she's someone who like is actually a great ad-libber. On our first movie, I would always give her like one ad lib take at the end once we'd gotten what was on the script, because she's so good at it and she would do amazing things. On this one, we didn't do that as much, but she is always just doing surprising things, making surprising choices. I never know what she's gonna bring to a character, and she always is so funny and delightful. So I think like, yeah, it's a bit of both. Like I don't want them changing the dialogue, but I do give them a lot of freedom to bring what they need to, and I think this cast brought so much to the characters.
Oh, they did. She
yeah.
brought like a little bit of craziness to the experience, and it was really nice. So what did Jovi? Yeah, that's Kaden Connor, I think. Is that
Yeah.
how you spell it?
Jovi,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, like, how that actually mean in this movie? Like, for example, about the condition. Where is that coming from? We don't want to spoil anything, but let's talk about that. Where is that coming from?
Yeah, well, we can do like a little spoiler warning, but his character has like what we call facial blindness, and that actually, when I was writing the screenplay, I was living with my best friend Jen, who's a producer on the movie. Briefly, I was visiting her, like I was traveling out west to visit her, and I was staying at her house on a vacation, and I found out that her husband has facial blindness, and he has a really I asked him all these questions about it, and it's like a really extreme case for him. Like I said, if you go to I asked a question that Cliff asked in the movie. I said, if you go to pick up your mom at the airport, would you recognize her? And he said no, but I would figure it out from context clues. And if you'll notice in the movie, he gives a different answer. He says yes, because I'm like, this is going to be too hard for people to believe. But that's the truth of it. That's what it really is. So it really inspired me because I was in the middle of writing the script, and I'm like, part of this movie is about abandonment issues, fear of abandonment, and I think I can't imagine anything more extreme than being in love with someone who has facial blindness in the context of a movie where it's maybe used as I don't want to, like, I'm sure in real life people who have facial blindness would say, hey, that's not that's not what it's like. But I think like just metaphorically, that's what you feel. That was my biggest fear when I fell in love with the straight guy. I was like, oh, one day I'll just be someone he doesn't even remember. That's like the fear of abandonment issue is I think articulated in that scene in a metaphorical way almost that I can really relate to, and I hope other people can too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first time that I hear about it. To be honest, it was just like I was like, is that actually a thing?
Brad Pitt
That's
has
crazy. Is it?
Yeah, Google it. He talks he talks about it. I think it's different. I think there's different degrees for different people, but there is a real thing where people forget faces. I find that idea kind of terrifying, not to disrespect people who have this condition, but I just think like it would be so disorienting, and I have a lot of empathy for what that would feel like to be like, oh fuck, do I know this person or not? And I think a lot of people who have that condition will talk about how, in my limited research, will talk about how they use context clues and very quickly figure out, and they've gotten really good at figuring out, oh, have I met this person or not? But it's a real thing, and they just can't place the face. And I think I exaggerated a little bit in the movie for the sake of poetry. But
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So if someone is watching Lunar Sway or is gonna watch Lunar Sway at the moment where they feel lost, what do you hope they take from it?
Sorry, say that again. If they feel,
So
if they feel
if
lost in
someone,
their life
yes,
and they watch, yeah, I hope they definitely just feel a little less alone. I mean, that might sound a little cheesy, but I think like that to me is the point of telling these stories, is to just feel less alone, because you see your own truth reflected in a movie, and realize someone else is going through it, and it's universal. And I try to tap into those things that I feel like people don't say out loud as much as I would like. And I think, oh, I must be the only one going through this, but you're not. And so I hope that other people can watch it and say like, okay, I can relate to this in some specific way, or even in a really intangible, abstract way. Like, that's the great thing about fiction too, is that sometimes it's something you can't quite put into words. To feeling, it's a mood, it's a vibe that you can be like, okay, this person sees the world like I do, maybe, and you feel less alone in the world.
yeah. Because I have this question, like, do you think like storytelling can actually heal people or change perspectives?
That's a really great big question, and I don't have a real answer. But I do think I tend to think it's the combination of all the art being created in a society combines to do that. But I think, and there certainly are specific movies that might change people's perspectives in a really profound way. But I also think I don't view that as the point. Like, when I set out to make a movie, I'm not here to like change everyone's perspective on things. I don't believe that. I don't think that that's the number one point, but I do think that it's, if everyone is telling their stories and everyone is consuming everyone else's stories, I think the combined effect of all that is really, really important on our lives. But I don't expect any one movie to necessarily do that. But I do think, in terms of healing, I definitely think for me, it's about the empathy workout. Like, if you go to the number of times you're like in a theater or in a movie theater or a live theater, and you relate to something a character is going through, even if they're nothing like you or their life is totally different from you, but there's some universal truth there. I think identifying all those universal truths is really valuable. I don't know if healing's a word, maybe, but I think it's like there's a real value to saying the parts out loud that we can't always put into words in our daily lives. We can't stop to always acknowledge certain truths about our existence in our daily lives, because we have to be kind of living our life and acting like everything's normal and coping. And I think in fiction we can drop those down and just kind of whisper the truths, even if they're a bit uncomfortable or they're a bit confusing, and so I think for all of that is very valuable and important to people. And yeah, so I don't know if that's too vague, but that's my answer.
That was exactly what we needed.
Use it.
Yeah. So you as a director, yeah, what was the biggest challenge you faced directing the project?
That's a good question. I think definitely the time constraint. Shooting it only in 20 days was a challenge. I would love to have had 60 days to shoot this movie, do more takes, have more time with it. Luckily, our cast was so good that they got great performances. I mean, that's really a testament to the cast. Like, the fact, when you're shooting in 20 days, it's like you don't have time to do a ton of takes. So the fact that they were able to deliver these really, really truthful performances under those circumstances is just a testament to their talent. And our whole crew, like the cinematography is amazing. Everything like came together so beautifully because of how hardworking and talented everyone is under very limited circumstances. So I would say the biggest challenge is always the schedule and the lack of money.
Okay, I have a question, because I mean, like, directors is something that I don't know much about. Like, how do you guys prepare with the actors? Do you have like chemistry, taste, or for example, that the characters come from your head, from your brain? How do you like prepare everything with each one to bring exactly what you see? How do you prepare with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not a big believer in doing a ton of chemistry reads and stuff like that. I kind of tend to believe that when I recognize the character in an actor, it's like, it feels like you're meeting your imaginary friend in the wild. Almost like you have this imaginary, and when you see someone who's a good actor, number one, and two, captures the essence of the character, you just kind of know. And at that point, I don't want to do chemistry tests, because if they don't work well together, I don't want to know. I want to go to set and figure it out. I don't want to talk myself out of anything or complicate it. I already know everything I need to know, which is it's Noah, it's Liza. I want them for the movie. I trust that when we all get to set, we'll find a way to make it happen, because a lot of creative any creative process is taking that leap, and you don't really know what's going to happen. There's a certain, it's just the chaos in the circus of being on set and trying to make the best version. But when you have actors that you know are A, good actors that you trust, and two, have found some way to connect, embody the characters in their auditions, that's all I need to know. And maybe it's laziness, or maybe it's a defense mechanism to make my life easier, because I work in casting, and I can tell you so many directors love to do endless callbacks, endless chemistry reads, get the actors in the room. None of that matters to me, because when I saw No One Lies Out, I'm like, I don't want to know anymore, because I don't want anything to convince me otherwise, first of all. But two, I also had as much confidence as I could possibly have. There's nothing more to convince me of. So I'm unusual that way, but I'm very like, go with my gut and then hope that it works. But on set too, like, it really depends on the actors, and I've worked in the past with a lot of very green, inexperienced actors just by nature of making these low budget movies, and a lot of the time you have to really like take them by the hand and work really hard with them, and then you cut around their performance in post. On this movie, none of that have to happen. They would show up on set, and take one would be doing a great job. No One Lies, I know a lot more about acting than I do, so I was really able to kind of give them a lot of freedom, and I'm just sitting there watching them monitor, and I'm seeing them work through it. And at a certain point, you need lots of takes, because I think every time they do a take, something different happens, something more interesting comes out, or whatever. And so you want those choices. But if I go up and start like giving them a ton of notes all the time, there's no way that makes us get there faster. It can actually just derail it. And if I see they're going in the right direction, so they gave me the luxury of trusting them like pretty much fully. And obviously I would do notes, and I would give them ideas, and we would play around and stuff, but it was really just for fun. It wasn't to get the performance to where it needed to be. They were already kind of there. So we didn't, and in terms of prep, like, we don't have the resources to hire people for rehearsals. We don't have the time to do, so we had some chats before, we talked a lot before, and that was the extent of it. And it was pretty, I would love more time with the actors, to be honest, in prep, maybe in the next one, just to like get to know each other better and talk things through. But yeah, but again, that's really just a testament to them. Like, I don't think all actors could pull that off, but yeah, that was it.
That's amazing. And how do you know when like a scene is done? You know what I mean? It's something that I'm actually, because I always see behind the scenes, and people is like, now, how do you know it's done? How do you know when it's done? Like, you know what I mean?
It's funny, you're glued to your little monitor watching the performance, and you're usually looking for something very specific that's missing, or what. And then as soon as you have the take where they do it, like, sometimes it's as simple as an actor will say a scene, and there's one line that for some reason the way it hits, it kind of doesn't sound natural to me, or it bugs me. But like, so you get them to do more takes, and again, you don't always need to intervene, but like, you get and then as soon as it hits in a way that all the lines are sounding good, you have at least one take where all the lines sound very grounded, then you're happy. So you're just looking for those, you just want to make sure you have for sure the takes you need for performance. That's a big part of it, usually. And like, it depends though. Obviously, if there's something to do with a camera or a move or a physical, like a more of a technical thing, then sometimes it's about making sure you have the perfect version of that. Like, you're watching those dolly moves, and you and the cinematographer want to make sure you're both on the same page, that you got it. But it's really, you're looking for, you know, and that's what they made it easy, because oftentimes it would be very early on, like take one or two, I'd already be pretty happy and pretty confident we have what we need. So then you're just doing bonus takes. And then sometimes the actors want to do more, and if they want to do another one, I'll usually say yes. But if the time's running out, I'll be like, listen, you're just being a neurotic actor. We have the take. You don't need to do any more. We already got it. Yeah. I won't say it in those words necessarily, but like, that's kind of, yeah, you're just looking for the truth in the performance, and yeah.
Amazing. One of the reasons why I create this show that I'm creating is because like, people doesn't know the price, like the price tag of the dream. Yeah. So for example, your dream has been a director, or for other people has been an actor. So we see the beauty of it when you make a movie or anything. But in your case, what would you say is the price tag of your dream?
Oh boy, there's a lot of price tags, but I pay them willingly and happily. Like, I never try to. I remember I dated a guy in my early 20s who's like, oh, Nick, he wanted to be an actor, but he abandoned the dream and got a real job and was living a happy life. And he saw me struggling to get my movies made, and he's like, oh, I admire the sacrifice. And I don't ever think of it as a sacrifice, because that sounds a little too dramatic, or like, because I'm doing it to myself. Like, no one's making me do it. It's my choice. So I just want to say I'm not complaining, but the for me, the biggest sacrifice is financial. Like, I've had so much of my life where I will leave a good paying job to take time to write, or I will save up a bit of money and take a few months off to write, or you have to like find so much time to get these movies off the ground. It takes so much time. There's so much logistics that beyond just the creative, it's like the emailing, the getting the money, the all the different things involved. It just takes up a lot of your time. And if you're working full time in an office or something, it's just not possible. So for me, it's like the decision to walk away from jobs, to quit contracts, to work freelance, to try to juggle has meant big financial sacrifices, which has a ripple effect. It can make it hard on your dating life. It can make it hard on your confidence. You can't travel. You can't do the things you always want to do. But again, I'm very aware that it's a choice. I brought this on myself. I'm not complaining necessarily, but that is the non-glamorous part that people don't always address, is that, you know, I would love a bigger apartment or whatever. So.
Yeah, I got you because actually that's you were talking about like your ex or something. That was the reason. Like I used to be a full-time singer, yeah, and for me, it was hard because even though you're always traveling for work. Even though I don't know, like people die around you, and sometimes you cannot even live that because it's, you know what I mean. It's so that's why I wanted to speak with people. You know what I mean? Like for example, what advice would you give to independent filmmakers trying to break in the industry?
What advice would I give? Okay, so there's a couple things I've picked up. One is that I really believe in, when you're trying to get funding and you're pitching your movie around, don't try to second guess what you think they want to hear. I'm a big believer in don't try to be too strategic with the creative content. Instead, pitch the version you're genuinely passionate about. And chances are that passion, if you can really stand up for it and really sell it and convince people, that's going to be more successful at getting people on board. And two, if someone doesn't love your idea, then they're not the right fit anyway. So it's a good way to weed out the people you don't want to work with anyway. So I would say stay true to that. Like a lot of people try to get too in their heads about guessing what funders want to hear, and I think that can be a mistake. There's that. And the other thing I would say is just take a long time hiring your crew. Like I started looking a year in advance for my cinematographer before my first feature, for example. Try to find those collaborators that you really connect with instead of just who's the most convenient or the most available. Like really do the work, because that will make or break the whole experience.
Amazing. They're probably going to be really helpful for so many people. That's good. What's the future for Lunar Sway? Anything that we can know? Anything soon?
Yeah, well, you're in London, so we're actually going to be coming to a theater in London in the summer.
Oh, is it?
So soon, yeah, you're getting the first release in London. I can't confirm all the details yet because it's just in the works, but once I know, I'll let you know. And we're hoping to go back and do some Q&As. So Noah, Liza, and I are hoping to go, if the schedule works out, and do some Q&As at a theater in London. But beyond that, we're doing some festivals. We have 2 festivals coming up in North America that haven't released their schedules yet, but they're, I think in the coming weeks they will. And then we're doing a US release in the fall, and probably in Canada around the same time. We have a couple theaters already booked in Canada. So we're going to try to just do as many like independent film theaters with Q&As as possible around New York, LA, Toronto, Vancouver, do the round. And then in France, we're being released early 2027. And in the meantime, we're going to go to as many festivals as we can. And whoever is willing to screen us will go, and we'll. So hopefully, wherever you are, there will be a chance to see it at some point.
Oh, I would love to bring my friends because I know they're gonna love it. So just let me know all the information and I'll be there. And the same thing, if you guys have the time, come to the studio. We have some wine. We talk about everything, about life, about the experience, and we'd love to meet you in person if you guys have time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. If we come back to London, I will definitely take you up on that. I would love to sit down in the studio and bring Noah and Liza if they're available to come, and and have a nice chat. That would be awesome. And yeah, I'll keep you posted because I appreciate the support.
Of course, anything, we are here. The Mind Corner is your home now. So just give me a call. I don't know if you know Alex Brunova. Do you know her?
Yes, yeah, we have the same sales agent.
Yeah, so she was actually, I saw the interviews and she always been so close. And when she was in the studio with me, crazy. I love her. Like she was so funny. So I want to bring up this kind of thing because my studio is about comedy mixed with checking mental health. You know what I mean? Because I use comedy to be on point with mental health, not taking everything too serious. So yeah, so I'm really so I hope to bring the same thing to you when you come to studio.
Your whole goal is to
And
get us to like open up, let our walls down,
yeah.
let our true color shine. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so it will
like
be really lovely. Anyway, thank you so much for like this time. Honestly, thank you. Appreciate that a lot. And we are in touch. Anytime that you come to London, let me know. And appreciate you a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and thanks for all the kind words about the movie. I'm glad
Oh,
it meant something
you
to me.
did amazing work. And I think, BFI, everyone was so excited about your movie. They were
Oh,
really excited about it.
oh, good. Yeah, we were so happy with the response to BFI, and it felt really exciting.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to let you carry on with your day. Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers. Okay. What do you guys think about it? It was so sick. It was really nice. It was so exciting. Like the fact that he was in New York, it was 1 p.m. and here it was like 6 p.m. He got the chance to actually talk to me and to tell us everything about the movie. That was crazy. That was really crazy. And yeah, like it was. I don't know. The thing is like casting these kind of actors is something that people like normally watch movies just because of famous people, yeah. But no, this movie is more about like the whole storytelling that have in between. And I cannot say much about the movie because if not, we spoil it. Because for me, I would love to tell you everything about the movie, and because the catch is there, you know what I mean? And Liz, for example, like seeing her from Gilmore Girls to seeing her in this character, it kind of shocked me a little bit, you know what I mean? But it was so nice to see her like doing something like that. And yeah, it's just familiar faces in a great project, and Nick just did it. Like, I'm really excited. I'm really happy. I hope he comes to the studio when he's back in London because he's everywhere now. And we couldn't catch him here, but I know he will be back. And the Mind Corner is his house now, so he'll be here. And next project and the one before. Yeah, I actually gonna watch because I didn't see the project that he had before. I don't know what was the name, but like it was actually Santol in Prime, I think. And Prime, I don't know. Maybe don't kill me. Maybe it's not Prime, but it's one of the platforms. So I will actually take the time to watch the project that he did before. That it was actually a really good project because I actually checked on him and it was really nice. So I'm gonna watch the whole project because I like what he does now, like what he actually does. If Lunar Sway is like that, I know that everything that he's gonna do in the future is gonna be the same. I mean, the good quality. That's what I want. And yeah, so thank you, Nick, and thank you guys for being in the Mind Corner with us in this BFI Flair coverage that is being crazy because we're lucky to have here Alex Bruno Navada. It was here sitting down with me and getting the time to talk to me and everything. But you guys are still coming to the podcast even though you are not like here, and that is amazing. I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. And don't forget about the Mind Corner. I love you guys. Bye. Yeah. That's all done.